fourth title. As a studio of two, we had our tiny moments of glory, but nothing very too fancy to share. So I'm here today to talk about the indie games market, how the tiny teams or solo developers operate, and how we can find an opportunity inside this. So this is my title. As a solo developer of an indie team, how if I can get a slide of this. I will say that it's difficult, it's really difficult, but not impossible for someone to enter in this industry without having capitals or corporate structure. They are picturing an individual with a laptop somewhere, not even in a garage because we are in Europe, not enough space. So only with time available and some expertise, very important, and some limited resources cannot be. So I'm referring to games that made by solo developers or tiny teams. Is possible to become profitable, or even is possible to sell them. It's another story. So if yes, is there a business model behind this? And if there is a business model, if there is a business, can be sustainable? And I wonder if there is a really slice for this specific segment. So let's take a look at the market. As we know, this is the revenue that generated last year. So what I'm interested in as an indie developer is that the information I get from here is that the half of the revenue comes from PC and consoles. Because as an indie, the mobile market is still very tough, and we all go to Steam as well, and sometimes we find an opportunity on consoles. So even with this graph, a fact is that the 90% of the revenue generated by only 20 authentic games. And what's left for the rest of us is a 10%, let's say. So a 10% that we can have to dig into to see if there is something, a space for us. So, and it's clear that the reality behind the 90% is dominated by massive studios with multi-million dollars budget, especially for marketing, even more than production. So it's clear that it's difficult to compete this, and we can not imagine even coexist in that space. And another important information for us is that their audience, the players, will likely never buy or even hear about indie games. So we have to see what leaves us inside this 10%. So this 10% includes all the rest from the remaining AAA games, the indie games, smaller big productions, and goes to the smallest indie hobbyist projects, and we are talking about thousands of projects in every platform, every single platform. So I will skip over a lot of details on this part, and I will try to find arbitrarily calling something like indie revenue pool, a space that we can find a revenue generated by indie games. It's difficult to define this. How to find something like this? Of course, we all read the big data, we read information from VGI or Newzoo, or we follow all venture capital's news or any other data platforms. But it's difficult to find there information that would really apply to our cases. Because around indie cases, things are unclear and it's a very small slice, so there are no direct information there. But that said, we do read the data because we have to be up to date and we have to be there when there is a game changer and it can affect everything we do. So, what can we find? For us, is the most important tool that I have found so far is SteamView. So this is open data from Steam, directly from Steam, and also they use it in Steam Database Suite, also in another platform that uses that. Those information, as all the big data uses those information, so they're not open for us, but of course open data is never very accurate and never give everything. So we have to learn how to read this and how we can make our own estimations. What we do is that we select games to follow that we feel it's relevant to our cases, and we really have to follow the rise of their wish list before the launch. And I'm talking about Steam, of course. And also at the same time, it's good to follow them on some social media to see how they are trying to increase their visibility and their awareness. And then we check before and after some big events that they participate to see how the exhibition went. And very important is to see how the launch will go, and after launch activities, and how long the tail of the sales will last after the launch. And so this way, when we follow the data and some games that we have selected, we learn how to use the platform itself. Every platform has opportunities, even for indies, especially Steam. And some opportunities we can find also on some consoles. And so opportunity for visibility, or to have some senses in this gallery in Steam. And that allows us to play a little bit without a huge budget. And also, very, very good information we can find in Discover Code and Simon Scarlett's newsletter, really very important for indies. So the most important thing that I found and help us is to discuss with other indie studios, to exchange information, real data, and when we discuss with some indie marketers that are doing organic growth and that kind of marketing that we have to use without having huge budgets. So sometimes they share very important information. We can find the right ideas to move on. And I have go back to 5 of these slides. So if we search enough, we will find something that will help us to have our big picture on this industry has to be around 1 or 2% that has associated with indie games and that kind of revenue. Indie games, small or medium production. So we found some information from Steam that this is 1 to 2 billions are associated with revenue from this kind of games. And so of course we talk about Steam. This is another interesting graph I found. It's from 22, but the analogy is similar. Today with bigger numbers, of course. So what is very, very interesting here is that the success stories, games that have revenue more than 1 million in general, are these red slides. So that's probably around 3% at that time. And it's probably very close today. And another interesting, of course, thing is the green, this green. It's supposed to be green. This one is around 7% gain of the games reached from 100K to 1 million revenue. So this is also an interesting information I get. So what we are developing as teams, we have to find an idea, we have to find a market fit for our idea, and we have to of course, take in consideration what we can build with our resources. So no free-to-play, no MMO without budgets. So what we always try to find is a fresh idea with some innovative elements and things that we feel that we can share with the people and create awareness, use the social media and find our audience. So what are the chances? If we have enough strength, the best thing to do is to self-publish, except, of course, with some exceptions that a very good deal come from a big publishing deal. But if you calculate all numbers and what is going on behind a publishing deal for a smaller project, the best thing to do is to learn this work and to do it yourself. So I have some examples, some real examples to see. So this is the example of Rusty Lake. This is a studio of 2 persons. And around 2016, they started with a product, raised a lot of, they have raised, they have found a huge community of fans with the first product. And that was a product that every year they give content, new story. It's just an escape room with some narrative elements, more narrative elements. So the duration is only 1 hour. So we think when we hear all of that, this data is amazing that they reach this result. So every year they have more than 1 million sales, and of course maybe more revenue every year. So that's an example of a small studio that I found that they fund their sustainability, because it's over a decade now. They managed to stay in the game. So even now, if you see the Discord, they have a fan base more than 400,000 people there, very active and waiting for the next content. Another example of a case like ours is Simogo, also an old one, more than 10 years. They have another business model. They develop each time something different, very different, with only the common element is very good design, very fresh and innovative. And they also, the previous, of course, they self-published. And the previous example, Simogo started with self-publishing, but then they were deals with publishers. So, and both of those examples started with mobile, and now they are also on PC after a few years. So, if you see the reviews here, and calculate the number of around 100, that's an estimation that we can think about the copies of how they sell, so we can calculate how every game is doing. So I have another example. This is Styling, a fresh launch. So I'm calling this in sales. So what they did, this is also a couple, not a couple, 2 developers, experienced developers, of course. They came from the industry. They didn't just start with their first project. So they built a simulation, a business simulation, with some innovative elements that you can build your exceptional landscapes and gardens and things. So they achieved to have before the launch more than 1 million and 500 million wish lists on Steam, and the rating was at 18 on Steam TV. That means that they are one of the few indie games that were among all AAA games, number 18. So this is 2 days after launch. You can see the reviews, and 1 month later they have more than 600,000 sales. And 6 months later, as until now, it's one of the core games. So this is the, let's say, the red slice that you see. Some examples there are. I always choose some games that are arty, kind of arty, and have some innovative elements that everyone considers are very, very tough to success, but still without success. So even with that. So let's go to the next level. So there are games. This is made from one sole developer, Dystopia from one sole developer, and room for 2-3 people, very young. I think this is the first commercial game. So this was a lower scale wish list. For example, Dystopia and Bloom, when they launched, they only have 20,000 and 30,000 wish lists. So this is a case that we see at the launch. There was an explosion, they doubled or tripled their wish list, and sales went very, very good according to their wish list. Summer House, this Friedman achieved to have everything, and he did this game, this simulation in 6 months, also very experienced developer. So he managed to have an awareness before the launch, great launch, and after launch sales up to for sure 6 months, and still is quite cool. So Bloom is self-published, I suppose, and Dystopia and Summer House have co-published indeed with the marketeer indie marketeer publishing label. So that's a very, very good case for an indie game, this kind of collaboration. Other stories is Steam, developed by Evoid Enix. Evoid is 22 years old. It's his first game as a student. So they created an awareness with this design and narrative game. And they gave me a wish list like 230K before launch, and a great rating for a game like that, a narrative, a small narrative game. Also Europa, of course, this is from an experienced developer, and he managed to have this wish list before the launch and a very good rating. So both of the cases didn't have the best launch, but they achieved after launch to continue selling until now, and they are using their wish list like they have. So also this is a co-publishing with indie marketeer. This is self-published, and they published in every platform. I mean, new people in the market, and they managed to have consoles and have physicals and everything. So I found all these interesting cases for us to inspire and follow these or many others. What we do, as we understood from what I said, is that we have to find what to develop to make sense for our case, to find the market fit inside our segment, not to try to imitate something from free-to-play or something else. And then we have to really find our community, build a community around the project, because not if we only make noise like the big budget project do, sometimes it isn't converted to wish list, or it cannot convert to sales. It can be well known, but nobody will remember after launch and go to the next. So I have to close over here, and I have to say that sometimes the game is the end product, and this is the business. Sometimes, for a lot of cases, the game that goes to the market and has probably a big performance is like a proof of concept for a next move, to pivot to another level, to pivot to a more corporate structure, or to something completely different And having this experience in this proven record always helps. Thank you very much.
That was terribly interesting. Thanks for all the research. What do you think it is that those self-publishing indies did? They got them to that point. Because obviously there's like thousands of failures over success.
I cannot hear you.
Can you close the door, please?
You know, there's like 1,000 like games that don't do very well for every one of those that does do well. So what is it they did differently?
You mean when they...
The successful ones.
They successful, yeah. That's a good question. Some of them say that the product work itself not 100% true. There is a lot of work behind this, and the lab is always needed, because when you work with social media, sometimes it can work, sometimes the algorithm changes and you are not able to follow everything. And sometimes these people achieve some collaborations with other either studios, either well-known persons, and help to visibility. And behind this, when we say low budget, is never zero budget. So it's just low budget. If they are lucky or clever to find the right moment, for example, to put some ads here or there, and this has a convert to wishlist and to sales, there is a huge coordination behind this, and some of them really work on this. But always lack, unfortunately, is a huge risk product. Yeah. I'm not in the red slice, that's why. So, something else? Thank you very much.